Hey guys, and welcome back for another episode. Today we're going to take a look back at a game that quite literally made kids wet themselves with excitement, Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64. Back in the summer of '98, when all we basically did was ride bikes, eat freezies, frolic through the woods, or play around with some bullshit in the yard, the neighborhood kids were absolutely on edge to get their full 3D Pokemon fix. All 151 Pokemon in 3D? No freaking way, this can't be real. The concept back in the day was nothing short of a giant raging boner. Once the kids that had Nintendo Power knew it was coming, it was frequently a hot topic on our school bus. You mean you get to transport your party of pixels onto your N64 and see them turn into a full-blown three-dimensional monster? Where the hell do I sign up? It was just a matter of who actually had the N64, and secondly, whose damn birthday was next. And you know what? After little deliberation, the chosen one was me. Anticipation was at an all-time high. Talk about getting childhood cold sweats, having trouble sleeping while listening to your favorite Eiffel 65 CD. Thank goodness February is a short month because I needed that shit to pass. I was counting the days, minutes, and even seconds to March 2nd, 1999. Hell, you could never know for sure, but if you ask enough, it definitely seemed like a good chance that one of your presents you opened was going to be the game that you've been pitching that rock-solid 3-inch quarter-ice tent for. Our kitchen table full of neighborhood kids erupted with excitement as soon as they saw what they came to see. Pokemon Stadium. Mom and Dad came up big this time. Forget the other presents, forget the cake, never mind celebrating my 8th year on this planet. No, it was time to finally celebrate finding out what the fuck our Pokemon would look like battling in 3D. We all speculated on how this would work exactly, and as soon as we opened up that oversized box, it became clear, and this is where dreams become reality. Everybody that slayed at this game back in the day can remember the sound of this immediately, as it sounds nothing quite like anything else. Getting approval from my older brother to use his blue version with a team of legendaries just made it even more exciting to bypass the stadium and go straight into battle now, because that's what we wanted, Pokemon action and not one more second of anything else. And let me tell you, we debated on what moves or Pokemon we would use first. Of course, the first choice ultimately had to be the strongest Pokemon with the strongest attack, Mewtwo's Psychic. To go from this to this?
What's this?
The entire basement was full of kids losing their mind. Between the announcer shouting out your Pokemon, the roar of the crowd, and actually seeing Pokeballs come onto the screen and unleash and retrieve your Pokemon, it was one of the most spine-tingling moments that I can recall. Everybody wanted more and more. We were like ravaged animals as we watched these creatures that we cherish so much in a way that felt closer than we thought possible. We truly had not experienced anything else like this before. It's like you can still hear it. Use Recover next. No, use Psychic again. No, switch to one of the legendary birds. Use Ice Beam. Use Thunder. Use Fire Blast. It was the type of excitement that actually made you pumped to watch the computer use their turn just so you could see all the attack animations and different Pokemon. It was a silly game to fight for the controller, as if that changed our brute force strategy of just selecting the strongest move on every possible turn. We were up so late plowing through the level 100 cups and Gym Leader Tower. Pokemon Stadium delivered exactly what it said it would. Gorgeous 3D models from our favorite handheld Pokemon game totally blew our balls off. You could even take pictures of your Pokemon in a Snap, if you didn't already have Pokemon Snap. The only glow in the room was from the TV. We played late into the night, and the longer you stayed awake only increased your chance of getting a turn. The smell of pizza and sound of ruffling sleeping bags surrounded this monumental experience that absolutely changed our lives, and this was only the beginning, as it was a challenge that I chipped away at for years. Pokemon Stadium absolutely pushes you to your limits as a Pokemon master. While the game does offer some rental Pokemon, the stats and move choices are never going to be ideal, and the whole concept always just felt really weird to me. Like the Pokemon don't have loving trainers, they're just for rent, like some part of business transaction, and they had no better place to be. Like a battling shelter of some sort. No, I wanted to win the real way, with my Pokemon. While they do have a Gym Leader Tower that holds almost 40 battles, the main challenges lied inside the stadium itself. You were only able to choose 3 of your 6 Pokemon per battle, a different kind of style that we weren't used to, making luck a bit of a factor depending on the selections that you made versus what the computer did. You have 4 different tournaments here, one is for your level 100 Pokemon. You would think that this would be easy if you simply go at it with a team of legendaries, and in the beginning, you're right, but Pokemon Stadium has a wide range of difficulty. Toward the end, even with my sufficiently roided up team, it still gets pretty challenging. Lots of trainers have really strong Pokemon with great moves, plus they love to paralyze, poison, and put you to sleep. Pokemon Stadium had forced me to make some painful decisions when altering my beefed up Mewtwo into more of a long game monster hybrid. I had to give up Blizzard for Thunder Wave in order to properly combat these marathon style battles. I also removed Recover for rest, so I could get rid of an annoying status change like a growing Toxic or the damn Paralysis before I would eventually be worn down. When the internet became more of a resource, I even followed the proper in-game steps to have a Mew show up so I could level him up quickly at the Elite Four, smacking him with TMs, and be a better backup for Mewtwo. But in the end of it, the level 100 cup is actually far from the most perplexing thing in the game, since you could take your main party and make decent progress off the rip. You have a level 15 to 20 cup, which you really need to take advantage of your Pokedex knowledge and accumulate a crap ton of TMs. You have to get creative in order to build your best team with the level restrictions. Your party of 3 could not have levels exceed a total of 50, so as in 2 15s and a 20, or 2 17s and a 16, that type of thing. And figuring out how to get the strongest Pokemon at such a low level is super interesting. For example, I caught a level 15 Growlithe, used the Firestone to get Arcanine, drugged it up to the max in Celadon City, and used TMs from my multiple playthroughs to give it ridiculous attacks, and that's the type of deal for everybody. It's pretty funny looking at low-level Pokemon that are jacked beyond belief. I really did take pride in this party, and it helped me appreciate another side of battling that I just hadn't considered previously. It also helped me realize how many different Pokemon could learn those high-powered special moves like Psychic, Thunderbolt, Blizzard, Fire Blast, and it was all about covering your bases with as strong of a qualifying team as you could possibly imagine. Fun fact, I even beat the level 100 Prime Cup with a level 3 Pikachu in my party of 3 so I could unlock one of the deepest Pokemon Stadium secrets out there, being able to teach a Pikachu to surf. Yes, this is 100% legitimate, and no cheats required. You can even look it up, so my level 15 Raichu also had the ability to fuck up any ground or rock type since I evolved him. Another really interesting competition is the Petite Cup, where you have level 25 to 30 Pokemon, but they have to be under a certain size, so it's kind of like the featherweight division. As a dumb little kid, this flew completely over my head. I called it the Petit Cup and didn't read the rules, so I was pissed off and didn't understand why I couldn't enter my freshly caught level 30 Snorlax. But this ended up being one of my favorite cups since it once again makes you think outside of the box on what little Pokemon could learn enough moves while still having strong stats. So there's the same idea with level caps here. I often had my one level 30 Abra that knew Psychic as an anchor. I didn't even bother filling out its moveset because this absolutely did the job I needed it to. I'm sure if I didn't get the win, I would have added Thunder Wave and Dig or something like that in there. Once again, this was another cup to teach me more about types and moves as I crushed these Pokemon with Celadon drugs and more hard-hitting TMs. These low-level Pokemon just completely decked out was just always amusing to me. Like, you go to check their pumped stats and see their moves and it's like, holy shit, what is all this doing here? Something to always keep in mind too is that breeders were not a thing in Generation 1, so you really just had to hunt down exactly what you needed at the right level in order to start assembling your teams. The level 50 to 55 Poke Cup on Master Ball Round 2 was the biggest challenge that came my way. I had to go back to the drawing board a few times to get through this one. You would think that just grabbing the legendary birds would make this competition a wrap since they can plow through almost anything on your Game Boy, but that's not the case at all. This required some serious strategy. Now this team isn't perfect, but the amount of diverse and hard-hitting moves that these strong Pokemon had was just like the rest of the other teams, absolutely dripping wet, oozing with power. I'm not sure why I felt the need to throw these nicknames on here, but I guess I got pretty into this, clearly invested. I can remember this competition more vividly, like finally giving up on a Hypno and grabbing an Abra to train to Kadabra and then using the trading to get Alakazam. Same thing with Golem, and I contemplated doing it to get a Gengar if I wasn't going to win soon. This team and my Petite Cup team didn't even have an electric-type Pokemon since I was able to cram the Thunderbolt TM down just about all of their throats anyway. I did have a level 50 Surfing Raichu at one point actually, but it just didn't have the defense, so it got kicked out for a Gyarados. I had a Jolteon on here at some point too again, but just didn't see the need if everyone could use Thunderbolt without the cost of being totally powerless against a Rock or Ground type, and conversely could just mow them down with Surf or Ice Beam. I remember getting super pumped to read that Dragonair evolved into Dragonite at level 55, and I thought, perfect, what better anchor for this team, a true leader. I spent a lot of time on these tournaments and tackling these. Jumping to your Game Boy and back to the N64 would have been pretty annoying, but Pokemon Stadium was the true training ground to develop teams, and they were thoughtful enough to include a Game Boy tower that you could run back and forth with. Not only that, but by beating Cups, you could unlock the Doduo mode, which was twice the speed, and Dodrio was 4 times the speed. And this shit is like, oh my god, do you know the game or not? And the music, holy crap. I was truly relieved to find my Pokemon cartridges again, since they weren't with the rest of my games. I was concerned, but they were actually right in there. As I popped these in and out, to my shock, I didn't see any of my teams on the games, and I got pretty damn concerned. But then it came back to me, you can register your teams. That's right, the gangs were all here all along. And when I checked out Professor Oak's lab, I stumbled across a bunch of PCs that reminded me just how many times I played through these games and where all my Pokemon were. I had boxes organized by type and just a ridiculous amount of TMs all lined up, ready to roid up the next Pokemon that might have a chance at the roster. Once you do get through all of the cups and Gym Leader Tower, you actually have a showdown against Mewtwo himself. It was stronger than the average Mewtwo, with boosted stats that made me realize, although I was very attached to the one that existed on our cartridge for years, it just wasn't good enough. Eventually, I was able to come back with one that had stronger and faster stats with more HP. It was a proud day. The battles and cups are still a lot of fun and a great challenge today for anybody looking to go back for another try. Nintendo had a feeling of just how many kids would be surrounding the TV all at once, so it's got to be mentioned, they gave the perfect break from battles with 9 4-player minigames, and these are absolutely hilarious. They were a blast to play back then, and after battling it out against some hard computers, I can confirm that these still hold up beautifully. Pokemon Stadium minigames were always one of the family go-tos. Don't have enough time for Mario Party? Let's do a quick contest of 5 wins. There really is solid variety here, and not one of them resorts to your typical press A as fast as you can. They do have a few games where you mash buttons, but there's a lot more thought that went into it than that. Like the color showing is the button you mash, or hitting your shoulder buttons alternatively to dig, and running as fast as you can by mashing B and tapping A to jump. You could practice your harden ability with carefully timed A presses to avoid getting smashed. Honestly, the most vocal I got during this whole session was right here in this Ekans ring toss game, where you could aim with your D-pad and have to carefully and accurately pull back and flick the joystick. I clawed my way back through the entire 60-second round and managed to nail a buzzer beater to take the lead as the horn went. I was honestly really fucking pumped, and I stood up from the couch. So to sum things up, Pokemon Stadium is awesome. It was really fun to play back then, and it was even still fun playing it today. We put a lot of time into this one, I mean a lot, and it kind of occurred to me towards the end of this video, the Hall of Fame, full of 151 places, we filled that up entirely in the Pokemon Stadium, and I have proof where you unlock the Amnesia Psyduck. I mean, that's where the weeks and the years come from. I remember just tackling that thing with a Mewtwo and a Mew and just loading it up with 4 other Pokemon that were like not leveled at all to fight, just so I could move 4 Pokemon at a time to the Hall of Fame. It was just a mad dash to fill out 151 places. But thanks everybody for your time and your attention, and I hope this video and just the visuals brought you some joy and some memories, and I'll see you guys again very soon for the Day 3 video. Thank you so much and have a great day.